Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool arcade game repair video for you this evening. This is what we have. A Neo Geo. This one's in pretty rough shape. I think I paid too much for this one. Here's what people do. They part these games out, and then I end up buying them at some point fairly cheap because it's missing all the parts, and then I have to part them back in. But what's always frustrating to me whenever I buy a game that's parted out is like nobody really cared about the machine or what happened next. You know, they got their monitor out of it and their game board and just forget the rest of it. So for instance, this game had a tinted glass. You know, whenever they took that monitor out, they laid that glass in the floor and either broke it or just threw it away after they got rid of the cabinet. Same thing with and most games have a bezel that goes around the screen, but this one just had the little cardboard one because the glass bezel was tinted. I'm gonna end up having to put some tinted plexiglass in there, but it sure would have been nice to have the nice thick, quarter-inch thick tinted glass that it came with. And then they did the same thing to the back door, which has this little 45 that I'm going to have to cut so it fits in there nice. And the same thing, you know, they took it off the game, laid it on the floor, so now I got to take another, 20 minutes to cut the board and paint it black. But it ended up in a dumpster somewhere. At least they left me the marquee. That was nice of them. I'm right-handed. There we go. It's coming back already. But unfortunately, they started peeling off the side art at some point, probably when it was out on location. You know, them hooligans. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to peel all this off. Sometimes it comes off easy like this. And sometimes it's really tough, but hopefully I'll get lucky on this one. So basically I'm going to peel all this off here. I'm going to go to the store and get some red paint. I want to paint the sides and the front red again. And then I've got a little decal that's got this Neo Geo MVS part on there. It's not going to look as good as it would have looked, but it'll look okay. And this wasn't originally a 2-slot game. If you don't know about Neo Geos, it's pretty cool. It's actually got a motherboard in there, and they've got a cartridge you could swap in and out. They made tons of different games, and you can swap the cartridge, and then you just put you another marquee up here. And originally this one would have had 2 games. But the 2-board motherboards, number one, they have a lot of issues. And number 2, they're expensive when you find one that works. So what I did was I bought a 1-slot board, and I'm going to put in here. Control panel has some wear. I've got a new overlay for this I ordered. So when I get to that point, I'm going to take this control panel off, take everything apart, sand it down and paint it. And new joysticks and new buttons. I've got this monitor here I kind of had marked to put into this machine. I don't remember what it came out of, but I've already capped and did the flyback on the chassis. This is a 25-inch 7000. But I think the tube might have been a little weak. I'm not sure. So we may rejuvenate that or try to do a tube swap. If it's not good enough for this machine, we'll show you how we do a tube swap also. But there it is. As you can see, it's pretty beat up. The one slot board I have isn't going to have this setup here, so I may just paint all this black, or if I can find a decal, maybe I'll put something over that, but I'll probably end up painting it either red or black. It's a shame somebody took all the stuff out of it. At some point, you know, the game board probably died on it, and they're like, well, I've got that good monitor at Neo Geo, let me take that out of there. I can sell that. Then they ended up selling the board probably as untested. You know how they do. Untested board. May work, $200, and then you get it, you know, it don't work. So then they ended up with this cabinet, and they took it to the auction, and good old Joe bought it, because that's what I do. But anyway, I'm going to keep peeling this off, and I'm going to paint it. Alright, so you get the idea. You may be wondering why I'm not using a heat gun. Well, I like to do it just like this, because if you use a heat gun, it'll actually reactivate the glue, and it'll just make a bigger mess. And I'm going to go through and sand this down, so I don't want it to be all sticky and mess up all my sandpaper. So I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. This side wasn't even really that bad, but they messed it up here. And you know, you got to paint both sides. You can't paint one side and leave the other. So I'm going to peel all this off. It's a shame because most of it's decent. So I'm going to do that and get back to you. Well, I got halfway through this side, and I realized I forgot to tell you guys what was wrong with it. It's broke. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take the control panel off so I could take it all apart, sand it, and paint it. Let me get my socket set, my snap-on socket set. People had a heart attack over the last one. I can't believe he's using pliers. Oh my gosh. Come on now, people. Nobody's using snap-on tools to work on arcade games, I promise you. And most of the time, they're not even using sockets to begin with. Somebody zip tied the cherry switch in there. Come on now. They glued them in. I'm pretty sure I'd still be looking for the right size socket and the ratchet. See, I'm done. I didn't need, the pliers work just fine. I use these babies every day. I use them on everything. You need to get you a good set of pliers. Very universal. Alright, so I'm going to take the buttons and everything out of there, sand the control panel down and paint it. Actually got a button wrench. You can usually do these just with your hand, but sometimes the nut will get stuck and you need the button wrench. I'm working on top of my glass display case. People didn't seem to like that either. See, that one I need it for. These cases are from the 60s. They're really well built. I've had them for probably 15 years, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of pounds on there. I wouldn't be afraid to put anything on there. I'd put the whole arcade game on there. They had the wrong buttons in there. You know, they're supposed to be red, yellow, green, blue. A lot of people reuse buttons, but we actually put all new buttons in ours. They're so cheap. You get a whole new button for $1. Then you don't have to work. They're only rated at so many clicks. You can only do this so many times. And this style here is the worst. That's got the cherry switch inside the actual button. I can't stand those. I have a lot of problems with these. I like this style more of the traditional hap button. Yeah, that's a hap button. They still make lots of joysticks and buttons. We still buy our buttons from them. I don't have any more stories for you. Nobody's brought any banana peels in lately and put them in the trash can. Would like to thank you for buying the t-shirts though. We've sold quite a few of those. About got it. If I only had a socket, this would probably go faster. I did get a new Milwaukee sander, orbital sander. It's pretty nice. That bolt is stuck in there. That's the one that wasn't even on there. There you have it. This is pretty flimsy and they crack a lot. We've got a newer one. The reproductions are actually about twice, probably 3 times that thick. So I'm going to sand this all down and I'm going to paint it, spray paint it in the back of my truck outside. And then I'll bring it back in and we'll put it back together. Alright, I got it painted. Here's my new control panel overlay. It's a little bit thicker than the old one. I like to put the buttons in first, and then I'll go back and get the bolt holes. It's a pretty tight fit. So if you don't get it just right, the buttons won't go in. If you do the bolts first anyway. course, you got to do new joysticks. We do the Euro style 8-way competition sticks. We really like these. You always got to put in new cherry switches. The old ones get filled with Coke and all kinds of stuff. On a fighting game, you gotta put new buttons and joysticks in it. People get mad if they can't do their fireballs and all that stuff. All right, there you go. I gotta get some bolts for it. Neo Geo, Neo Geo. Every time I do one of these, I think of that guy's video.
Neo Geo, hold right buttons and do joysticks. Neo Geo, Neo Geo, move right cabinet, name that shit. Neo Geo, Neo Geo, hold right buttons and do joysticks. Neo Geo, Neo Geo, move right cabinet, name that shit. Okay, so we all know that the Neo Geo MVS arcade cabinet is the best thing to ever exist on the planet. That's obvious. If you were born, then you know that. If you don't know that, then you're technically not alive. You might want to get that checked out.
Alright, I got the cabinet painted. I used a Valspar color. This is called Real Red. Not to be confused with fake red. I've painted quite a few of these Neo Geos, and this is about the closest color I've been able to find. Good enough for me. It's a pretty nice looking red. End up leaving that sticker on there in case somebody wants to put a 2-slot board back in it in the future. And I took that plate that was there off. I'm gonna paint it and put it back on. So it's getting there. So I'm going to put some T-molding on it next. And then I'm going to put the control panel back on it. And then we'll probably start messing with the monitor and the game board. Alright, I got the control panel back on there. Got my bolts in there. Look how shiny. I went ahead and put the monitor in. I haven't tested it or anything yet. I took the decal off that because it was in pretty rough shape. I'm trying to find another one, but for right now I'm leaving it black. But I think I'm going to have another one coming, so we'll see. I still got to fix my door there. That's the back of the monitor. I hooked it up pretty much, but I haven't tried it out. And I haven't even taken off the back door yet. I've done all this so far and I haven't even opened it. So I noticed there was a bunch of stuff down in the bottom, so I'm going to open up the back door and we'll see what's in the bottom of this thing after about 30 years. Come on now, look what they're doing. That ain't not supposed to be like that. Cord's supposed to go there, not here. It's a little dusty. There's my remote board for that. Put that up there. Got my manual. It's still in there. That's in the keep pile. So what probably happened is this power supply went out and they just took the lazy way and just threw this one in there. I don't know why they just didn't unscrew this one and put the other one here, but whatever. I don't know what the heck they're doing with that. It's in the trash pile. We got a record company. Sorry, but I'm going to have to throw that away. Hopefully they're not watching. I got a bunch of them in there. Used to have a Hanorex Polo monitor in it. I don't like those. We did the K7000 upgrade. So there's the World Heroes marquee. So that must be what used to be in it at some point. We've got what's left of the Sanwa joystick. That's in the keep pile. Hoping I get that other power supply out of my way real quick. It's out of here. Getting all new with my power supplies. Some more of that. Old cherry switch. That went up in the top in the marquee, so they probably only had one game in it. Which I'm pretty much going to do the exact same thing because I'm putting a 1-slot board in there instead of a 2-slot. We got DJ. Oh no, that's a doctor. Dr. JJ. Dentist. Habla Espanol. Most insurance accepted. This was in Georgia. Got some old straws. Oh, I'm making money now. I'm making the money. Got a nickel, dime, quarter, penny. I hope you guys are adding this up. Another nickel. Oh, got a nice bust and move marquee. That's the best thing in here so far. that goes to my joystick over here. Perfect. Various other change. I'm gonna get all that out of there. Looks, oh, I'm making money now. 8 gig.
Oh man.
8 gig.
They were keeping all their valuables in there.
This might be from the dentist office. Well, nothing else. Oh, that's the top to my joystick. Goes there. Some feet. More quarters. Some dust bunnies. And that's about it, really. I already had this. This wasn't in there. But anyway, I'm going to get all this cleaned out. I'm going to vacuum it up. Got to vacuum up there a little bit too where the board goes. And then I'm going to put a new power, I'm going to go ahead and put a new power supply in here. And we'll vacuum it out and mount that game board in there. And we'll try to figure out what's next. Alright, I got it vacuumed out. Got my new power supply installed. They actually had 2 isolation transformers in this cabinet for some reason. They added that one. And that's the original one. So I took that one out because it was all hacked in there. And I guess I'll figure out why they put that in there at some point. But for right now, I'm going back to the original one because it's all in the original harness going up there nice and pretty. Those things rarely go bad. I mean, we've been doing this over 20 years and I've maybe had 5 bad isolation transformers. So anyway, got the power supply in. You always want to check the 5 volt before you put your game board in. And I'm also going to go up here to the top and check this 120 here. So I don't electrocute myself. So it's got 130 coming out of it. That's a little high. Maybe that's why they had another one in there. So I'll look into that. We'll see. They had the isolation transformer hooked up wrong. That's a lot better. They had it on the wrong lug at the bottom. Anyway, that's how it's supposed to be. So now we can move on to our game board. Here's my Neo Geo section. This is my 1 slot board I'm going to put in there. You can see how the cartridge just slides in there. It's like a big Nintendo. And here's my Neo Geo games. I think I'm going to go with the Samurai Showdown 3. You can put the multi-boards in there too, but they really don't work that good. They've got a lot of little glitches in them. We're not too happy with the Neo Geo multi-board. Samurai Showdown 3 it is. Alright, I got the board in there. It seems to be working. But like I said at the beginning, if you've been watching this long, the tube ain't the greatest. It's pretty dim and weak. That's about as bright as it gets. And I've actually got, I'm going to put some tinted plexiglass on here because that's how it was originally. So I need it to be pretty bright. So I'm going to have Ronnie zap it with our tube tester. Alright, we zapped it. I centered all these colors too. Let's see what it looks like now. I think that's pretty good. I think that might be usable. And I still got room on the colors because I centered them all, so I think that might work. So now I got to put it in test so I can hook up all my buttons. Looks pretty good to me. I adjusted the monitor a little bit more. I still have some room on the brightness and contrast. So now what I'm going to do, since the guy who parted this thing out threw my glass bezel in the garbage, I got to take some tinted plexiglass and I'm going to cut it to size. So I'm going to measure it. And I cut it with this is one of them, but I got a better one. Anyway, I'm going to cut it with one of these. So I score it about 5 or 6 times. And then I break it off on the side of the glass showcase out there. Here we go. Perfect.
Boy, you're good at that.
So I'm going to do the same thing the other way. And we'll see what it looks like in the cabinet. There we go. See, I got to cut the line.
It's not rocket science, people.
Yep.
You know, a lot of it's just having the guts to do it, you know.
People say they wanted to see more of this stuff. So here
Yeah,
it
there
is.
you go.
Aren't you excited? Is it everything you dreamed of?
Can you believe this?
All right, I made it in the test. Got all new buttons, joysticks. This is my test screen. A, B, C, D. 2-player. Up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right. My select game's working, see? Second player's working. One player's working. When I hit this, it's going to advance the screen though. Pretty good looking monitor. What do you think? Let's see what time it said it was. It's year 2000. Alright, so we're going to take it out of test. I'm going to fix the light fixture up top, and I'm going to print that little mini marquee, cut it out and put it in there, and I'll show you how that looks. Alright, here she is in all her glory. Got it pretty much finished up. Still waiting on a decal for that spot right there, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Glad we were able to save that monitor tube. Didn't have to do a tube swap. It turned out pretty nice. So I printed a marquee, a little mini marquee for up there. If you were paying attention, I found that in the bottom of the cabinet, so I put that back in. Got everything put back together. The new overlay turned out nice. Got my coin door fixed up. Had these decals I ordered off eBay. That really helped it, I think. I think that red's pretty much dead on. There you go. I think it turned out pretty good considering we started with pretty much an empty cabinet. Somebody parted out and we've got it parted back in. Ready to go. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. If you don't mind, give us a thumbs up for filming it for you. And subscribe if you can. I've noticed, you know, we got about 58,000 subscribers now, but it says we get a ton more views from people that aren't subscribed. So I don't know what they're doing. They need to subscribe. Come on. You can't watch it and not be subscribed. I think maybe they're watching it on their Roku TV or something. But you can still subscribe on there. But anyway, we appreciate you watching, and thanks to everybody that's been using our Amazon links. That helps us out a lot. And check out our brother Donnie's channel. It's called My Brother Donnie. He works on buildings and cars and trucks and mobile homes and all that. So, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one.